What was the first iPhone to come out? When did the first iPhone come out? We have the full history of the iPhone, from the first series to the latest iPhone 15. This video will cover the evolution of iPhones over the years and discuss the notable changes made with each release. The history of every iPhone model from 2007. 2023. iPhone. The first iPhone release days. June 29, 2007. Can you believe 16 GB is all you could put on the first iPhone? Granted, there wasn't nearly as much data to put on the iPhone yet, and certainly no app store, but you had access to the internet on a screen you could actually see it on. Unlike the flip and slider phones of the time, and it could only handle 128 MB of memory, was 2.0 megapixels. So terrible, but a phone with a camera. Moly. As a fun aside, there actually isn't an iPhone 2. From the first iPhone, Apple leapfrogged right over this number to the iPhone 3. And 3G's iPhone 3 release date, July 11, 2008. As far as internal specs go, the iPhone 3G wasn't much different than the original iPhone. But now there was an app store. iPhone got its moniker for its 3G connectivity, which meant access to internet you could actually use without wanting to throw the iPhone across the room. iPhone 3's release dates. June 19, 2009. Apple introduced the 32 GB storage option with the iPhone 3's, doubling it from the first iPhone. Clearly, introducing the App Store changed things quickly. Between photos, music, and apps, 16 GB just wasn't going to cut it. The camera got an upgrade to 3MP and added video recording. Apple also added voice control, although we'd have to wait a couple more years before the introduction of Siri. iPhone 4 release date, June 24, 2010. Now we're getting somewhere. The iPhone 4 was the first iPhone to have a front-facing camera. Little did Apple know, selfies would take over the world. The iPhone 4 also got a Retina display, with 512 of memory. It was equipped to handle a lot more than even the iPhone 3's, which only had 256 MB of memory. You can see that technology was beginning to look a little more familiar, but 32 GB was still the maximum amount of storage the iPhone could hold. iPhone 4's October 14, 2011. Talk about a huge difference between the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 4's. The camera went from 5MP to a whopping 8MP. Now, upgrade. Apple also introduced the 64 GB storage option, but the memory at 512 MB. Video could then be recorded in 1080p. I can't forget. Hello Siri. Apple sold 4 million units of the iPhone 4's in its first week. iPhone 5. Release date, September 21, 2012. Apple sold 5 million units of the iPhone 5 in its first week. Camera stayed the same, but memory was boosted all the way up to 1 GB. You thought 3G was cool? PS, the iPhone 5 had LTE for connectivity. Hello Internet everywhere. Apple also introduced the Lightning connector with the iPhone 5, and for the first time, the screen got bigger. All previous generations' displays were 3.5 inches, but the iPhone 5 was 4 inches. iPhone 5's NW turn, September 20, 2013. Between the iPhone 5's and the iPhone 5 deck, Apple sold 9 million units in the first week of sales. The iPhone 5 deck was meant to be slightly more affordable and had a plastic shell. It was available in 4 different colors, but not too much else was different. The iPhone 5's, on the other hand, introduced Touch ID dual flash and slow motion video. Plus, it included the MIS 7 motion processor, which opened a new realm of possibilities and also helped save battery life. iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. UT release date, September 19, 2014. Apple tends to make larger leaps between the original model and the S Edition than it does from the S Edition to a new model. The iPhone 6's internal specs were very similar to those of the iPhone 5's. The biggest difference was having a significantly larger screen and offering an even larger size called 6 Plus. The Retina display became HD, and the option to get an iPhone with 128 GB of storage became available, but the amount of memory was the same, and the camera didn't see a megapixel upgrade. But it didn't matter. Apple sold 10 million units in the first week. iPhone SE, March 31, 2016. Don't think I've forgotten the iPhone SE. It had all the awesome internal specs of the iPhone 6's in a small package and without 3D touch. But overall, the iPhone SE was introduced as a more affordable option that people really loved. iPhone 7 Plus, release date September 16, 2016. Apple finally dropped the 16 GB base model option with iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus base models starting at 32 GB of storage, going up to 256 GB. Apple also introduced a new shiny jet black color. The iPhone 7 Plus proved to be more popular than previous Plus models due to its new dual camera, which made a significantly improved zoom feature possible, and portrait mode, a software update that let iPhone 7 Plus users take impressive photos using depth of field. Perhaps the most controversial feature of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus was the one Apple removed: the headphone jack. New iPhones shipped with ear pods that plugged into the Lightning port and an adapter for traditional headphones. Apple introduced its wireless AirPods at the same event. It announced it was eliminating the headphone jack. Apple stopped supporting updates for iPhone 7 and 7 Plus once iOS 16 launched in September 2022. iPhone 8 Plus, release date September 22, 2017. The iPhone 8 and 8 Plus introduced us to wireless charging with the glass cover on the back of the iPhone. The camera was awesome, with upgraded tools for editing and filtering our images. The True Tone display improved the viewing experience by automatically reducing blue light exposure. Users eventually mostly got used to not having a headphone jack and began adapting to the wireless lifestyle. Apple stopped supporting updates for the iPhone line once iOS 17 launched in September 2023. iPhone X, November 3, 2017. Skipping right over the iPhone 9. The iPhone X was released 10 years after the original iPhone. The iPhone X included an extra front camera that let us take amazing selfies in portrait mode. Sure, other phones let us take cool-looking photos, but the iPhone X included portrait mode for the front-facing camera, and we fell in love at first aperture. Apple stopped supporting updates for the iPhone X once iOS 17 launched in September 2023. iPhone X's and UX's Max. Release date September 21, 2018. Apple announced the X's and X's Max at its September 2018 event in the Steve Jobs Theater. These models were well named as they were definite upgrades along the lines of the iPhone X. Both models had the front-facing camera for portrait mode selfies. The displays were edge to edge, and it all looked great with the Super Retina display. The biggest upgrade might be the smallest. The A12 Bionic chip increased the processing power while decreasing battery drain. iPhone XR, October 26, 2018. The iPhone XR was also announced at the September 2018 event, but wasn't available right away because it was the cheaper of the new models. Quite a few people decided to wait for the XR to be available. These iPhones were smaller than the X's and X's Max, but still bigger than the 7 and 8 Plus. The display was not as crisp as a player, the XS and X's Max, but with the Liquid Retina HD display, the difference wasn't too noticeable. This model also had a front-facing camera and came in way more colors than the XS or X's Max. iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro, iPhone 11 Pro Max, September 20, 2019. The iPhone 11 was the least expensive of Apple's annual line at the time, but still had enough new features to be in the running for 2019's most popular iPhone. The device features a 6.1-inch liquid Retina display and comes in 6 crisp colors. The most exciting addition may have been the second camera on the back of the 11, both 12-MP and offering wide and ultra-wide lenses. For Apple customers looking for a smaller phone with a top-of-the-line display, the iPhone 11 Pro was perfect. The 5.8-inch Super Retina XDR display was Apple's most crisp and clear to date. Phone featured not 2, but 3 12MP HDR camera lenses, offering wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lenses. The color options were more muted than the iPhone 11, but there was always the option to add a flashy case. Apple's largest and most expensive phone of 2019 was the iPhone 11 Pro Max. The display was Apple's Super Retina XDR, as with 11 Pro, but sized at 6.5 inches. The Pro Max featured the same 3-lens camera setup as the 11 Pro, as well as the same color choices, making size nearly the only difference between the devices. iPhone CCA Generation, April 24, 2020. The 2020 iPhone C is the second of its kind and was loved by those who prefer smaller iPhones. Apple took a few cues from the past with this throwback iPhone. The 4.7-inch Retina display, home button with Touch ID harken back to the original iPhone C, and with a similarly low price. The second generation C offered many of the features of Apple's most expensive iPhones, including an A13 Bionic chip, advanced camera system with portrait mode and depth control, high-definition video, wireless charging capability, and long battery life. iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone 12 Pro Max. November 13, 2020, the iPhone 12 mini was a surprisingly small, but still very powerful addition to the iPhone family. This thin and incredibly light smartphone measured just 5.4 inches and included the new, powerful 14 Bionic chip for a considerable boost in performance over previous models. It also featured Apple's latest Super Retina serial lead display and a host of camera upgrades, but still came with a dual lens arrangement. The only notable differences between the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 12 were that the mini was smaller and had an estimated battery life that's 2 hours shorter than that of the larger iPhone 12. The 6.1-inch iPhone 12 had exactly the same features, camera specs, and processing capabilities as the 12 mini, except that it was estimated to have a 17-hour video playback compared to the iPhone 12 mini's 15 hours. This mid-range model also included dual-lens camera, which was good enough for everyday users. However, Apple did include some impressive upgrades to the higher-end iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max phones for those who chose their iPhones for their camera capabilities. The iPhone 12 Pro boasted some very fancy camera and color upgrades as compared to the 12 and the 12 mini, but came in the same 6.1-inch screen size as the iPhone 12 and included all of the baseline features present in the budget models. New camera features introduced in 2020 include a triple lens arrangement like we saw with the iPhone 11 Pro models, but with LiDAR scanning, improved night mode, and enhanced zoom range and lens functions. Both iPhone 12 Pro models included the fastest aperture ever used in an iPhone. Apple added RAW photos for superior pro editing capability and included Dolby Vision up to 60 frames per second in the Pro models. The iPhone 12 Pro Max featured all of the benefits of the 12 Pro, but with some upgrades and a considerable size difference. The 6.7-inch Pro Max claimed an 87% improvement in the way it functions in low light over the iPhone 11 models and features 5x zoom, which was a big deal for those who use their iPhones for professional or near-professional photography projects. The most distinguishing characteristic of this iPhone was its screen size. iPhone C third generation, March 8, 2022. The 2022 iPhone C3 is the third of its kind. It maintains the 4.7-inch Retina HD display and home button with Touch ID, which harken back to the original iPhone C, and with a similarly low price. The third generation C offers many of the features of Apple's most expensive iPhones, including 5G and A15 Bionic chip, advanced camera system with portrait mode, depth control, high-definition video, deep fusion, wireless charging capability, and battery life. iPhone 14T, 14 Plus, iPhone 14 Pro, iPhone 14 Max in the business. 14 September 16. 14 Plus, October 7, 2022. Instead of the iPhone mini, Apple brought the Plus back for iPhone 14 with the slightly larger display that had been restricted to the exclusive Pro and Pro Max models in recent years. The iPhone 14 models came with some impressive safety-focused features, including crash detection, which automatically detects a car wreck and contacts emergency services in the event of a crash, and emergency SOS via satellite, a feature with the capability to connect to emergency services via satellite if you find yourself in distress while out of range of Wi-Fi or cellular. The emergency SOS via satellite is a first in the smartphone arena, since connecting to a satellite was previously only possible through bulky, expensive devices built specifically for this purpose. The iPhone 14 also offers a new dual camera system designed to take low-light photography to the next level. Goodbye grainy nighttime photos. Similar to the iPhone 14 base model, the 6.1 iPhone 14 Pro debuted with the same crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite safety features. In addition to the new A16 Bionic chip, also got a surprising upgrade with the new dynamic island feature where the notch used to be. While the notch isn't gone, it now adapts to whatever you're doing to more seamlessly display notifications and background activities. It also featured an always-in display made possible by low-energy components so that time and widgets on your lock screen are always viewable. In perhaps the most impressive update, the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max offer a 48MP camera, a sharp jump from the 12MP camera by the previous model. This translates to a more flexible camera with more options for framing and cropping, as well as better low-light shots, so you can worry less about the lighting and more about capturing the moment. Its screen is the same size as the previous Pro Max generation, 6.7 inches diagonally. As expected, the iPhone 14 Pro Max has upgrades the other iPhone 14 models had, including the always-on display dynamic island, A16 chip, emergency SOS via satellite, crash detection, and the impressive 48MP camera. It also offered a staggering 29-hour video playback battery life and the brightest, clearest display of any iPhone ever. With the new 48MP camera, you won't want to stop taking photos, as this camera helps you to capture more colors, textures, and detail than ever before. iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Max's buys. You can release day, September 12, 2023. The new iPhone 15 and 15 Plus were recently unveiled at Apple's September 12 event. These models feature the same 6.1 and 6.7 Super Retina XDR displays as the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, but the 15 and 15 Plus come with a new feature: color-infused glass backs. The iPhone 15 and 15 Plus have also added the dynamic island, only available in the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max last year. Both models feature a USB-C rather than a lighting port. The iPhone 15 and 15 Plus also have a chip upgrade, moving up to the A16 Bionic chip. The advanced dual camera system now features 48MP super high-res photos and next-gen portraits with focus and depth control on both models. Also included important safety features like crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite. The new iPhone 15 Pro was recently unveiled at Apple's September 12 event. New features of Apple's latest iPhone model include a titanium frame, USB-C port, and the brand new Action button. The Action button turns the ring silent switch into a customizable button that can activate the camera, turn on the flashlight, set accessibility options, change focus modes, open note, start a voice memo, and even run custom shortcuts. Similar to the iPhone 15 base model, the 6.1 iPhone 15 Pro has crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite safety features. The new A17 Pro Bionic chip allows for the best iPhone graphics. Performance to date, great for gaming. While the camera system now features next-generation portraits with focus and depth control. The new iPhone 15 Pro Max was unveiled at Apple's September 12 event. Just like the 15 Pro, the 6.7 iPhone 15 Pro Max includes a titanium frame, USB-C port, and Action button. The Pro Max also offers safety features, including crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite safety features. The A17 Pro Bionic chip combined with its larger screen size allows for the best iPhone gaming performance to date, with less lag, more speed, and immersive, detailed graphics. The camera system now features next-generation portraits with focus and depth control. iPhone generations to come. Apple has released a total of 38 iPhones over the years, including the latest iPhone 15 models. We've given you a complete look at each iPhone evolution, starting when Steve Jobs unveiled the original iPhone in 2007. As you can see, the iPhone has through a lot of changes, from a 16 GB web browser to a 1 TB i1 camera, workspace, and entertainment center,